Today, Lewis and I are teaching you how to perfect your running form. Is it recording now?
Yes.
Alright, so today, Lewis and I, oh wait, we already did that, didn't we?
Yeah.
So I'm going to break everything down by joint, and a lot of these things you probably shouldn't be doing like the first day, just try to do all these things or you're going to get injured. Like I did that, I think I did like the one I'm going to show you for your feet and ankles and stuff like that. I tried to do that in like a couple months and I got Achilles tendonitis. Like every race that I had my senior year of high school, I had to like just tape my ankle.
Too sexy for my car. Too sexy for my car. Too sexy, yes, yeah.
So take my advice. Don't implement all of these things all at once. Just take like maybe one thing and start implementing it every run that you go on. Maybe like the first half mile or the first 200 meters or first 5 minutes, and then after that feels fine, then add like, you know, the first 10 minutes, and then before you know it, you're doing half your run or like your whole run doing these things. And then once you get one thing down, then add 2 and 3 until you're doing like the whole thing. It could take, if you want to get not injured, then it could take you between 6 months to like even a year to like really get all this down. It took me like a really long time. So this is not a quick fix. And if you are going to be doing all these things, then I suggest if you're like doing a race, just go with your normal form until you're good in practice with like doing all these things. So anyway, all that said, out of the way. Oh, actually one more thing. So everybody's different. Like all your limb lengths are all going to be a little bit different too. So like, you know, maybe you have the same size legs as me, but maybe like your femur to tibia ratio is a little bit different than mine. Like there's going to be some discrepancies. So this is all just like kind of general information about how you should be running. And I'm going to actually take off my shoes so you can see better what I'm talking about. So the first thing that I would suggest.
Yeah, those things reek.
I can smell it from there. So I'm gonna work from like the bottom of your body up. So the first thing that I would suggest is like don't land on your heel. Like that seems like pretty obvious. I think like not that many people don't. Oh, Lewis, do you know how to zoom on there?
Is it this?
No.
Nope.
You take the lens and you.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay. So if you want to zoom in on my feet, like so, like some new runners, like they will tend to.
I'm failing. Okay, no.
So some new runners may tend to land on their heels, and that's just because a lot of shoes tend to have thicker heels, and they didn't used to have that until I think it was like in 1972 the Nike Cortez came out, because Phil Knight was like, oh, I think I'm gonna like make everyone more efficient by landing on their heel. It's gonna lengthen your stride and it's gonna make you faster because you can take bigger strides. And he succeeded in making bigger strides, so a lot of people overstride.
And a lot of money.
Yeah, and a lot of money. But a lot of people get like really injured because you're kind of just like braking every time, so you're putting like more impact, and you're not supposed to run like this. I mean, like if you were to like run barefoot, like you probably wouldn't be able to run like heel to toe for very long. So that's one big thing, is like it'll prevent a lot of injuries actually. And like if you tried, like I said, if you try to do it like right away, you're probably going to get injured by trying to prevent your injury. So just do it like a little bit at a time. Like I think when I first started doing this, I did like the first 2 minutes of every run, and then I did like 4 minutes of every run, 8 minutes of every run, until I could finally do it for every run, like the whole run. And so another thing it'll do is like it'll actually could make you faster too, because instead of like wasting time landing on your heel, rolling to your midfoot and then pushing off your forefoot, you're just landing on your midfoot and pushing off your forefoot. Like it's a 2-step process instead of a 3-step process. So it could also make you a little bit faster. So that's the first one for your feet, is just try to land flat and then push off. And then another thing is for your ankles. Okay, so most of the time when you hear people saying like lean forward, a lot of people will like lean forward like this, and like that's not gonna do anything. Like if you like, I don't know if you're sitting down, but like if you're at home, stand up and like lean forward and like this, and like nothing happens. But if you lean forward at your ankles, you have to keep going forwards. So I mean, running is literally nothing but a controlled falling forward motion. So if you can just control that and just like make sure you're leaning forward at your ankles, that'll really help you with running form. It can actually help you run even faster with less effort too. So I've coached athletes before and told them, like, if they're having a hard time visualizing this, like say before like you do your strides or something after a run or a workout, you can actually just start this by like leaning forward and then going for your run, and then while you're doing that, just like keep that forward leaning motion while you're running. So that's pretty helpful when you're just doing your stride. Just like try to keep that leaning forward motion in your ankles. So the next joint is obviously the knee. And one thing that I try to tell people is just kind of like pretend there's like a string in your knee, and it's like just pulling you forward. It's like pulling your knee forward with every stride. So you're basically trying to pull your knee as far forward with every stride as you possibly can, with your foot still under your knee. So if you tried to like just bring your knee as far forward with every stride and go like this, obviously you're gonna overstride. But if you try to bring your knee as far forward with every stride and keep your foot under your knee, then you're not gonna be overstriding, and you're also, your stride is going to just kind of, you're gonna run like your natural stride length. And it's not, you're not gonna be overstriding, you're not gonna be understriding. And actually sometimes when I do this, I tend to go too fast because I'm like, a lot of this stuff is easier to practice when you're kind of going fast. So if you do want to practice these things like after your run, maybe do it at like your tempo pace or something. It might be kind of easier to do. So I'll probably just like input maybe Lewis or me running with like us just like pulling our knees forward. But I don't know, that's really all I do is like I just like, you kind of feel like you're going like this. It takes some time, and it definitely feels weird when you're doing it. So just take your time with that one. And then, all right, so then your waist. All I gotta say about your waist is just like, make sure you're not leaning over at your waist. Just like zoom in on something.
Yeah.
So just like make sure you're not leaning forward at your waist, you're leaning forward at your ankles, okay? So like your waist, like you should just be like running kind of tall. This is kind of just like my personal preference, because I feel like when I have my elbows like a little bit less than 90 degrees, then I feel like I just have to move my arms less. And if you know from racing, like if you want to start moving your legs faster, you move your arms faster, because it sounds weird, but like your arms and legs are like pretty connected. Like it's really hard to move your arms and legs at like a different pace than each other. So I mean, like it's really, okay, just try to do this at home, okay? It's really hard to like move your arms like this and like move your legs like really fast, like going like this. It's like really hard to do. Like I'm only able to do that because I practice.
It's something that he does on a regular basis.
So that's what I tend to like to do like with my elbows, and like just like making sure I don't like bend them anymore when I'm running. Like I just like keep them where they are, and then I'll just like.
I found that one, like sometimes when I'm getting tired and I'm getting sloppy with my running form, and I'm bending my elbows more, it like, you kind of start hunching and you tighten up your chest, and it makes it harder to breathe too. Yeah. So if you're trying to be like uber efficient, don't do that.
Yeah, so I like to do like either 90 degrees or a little bit less. And that's just like my preference. Like if you're comfortable like running like this, then do that. Like some people are comfortable like running their hands like at their pockets, or like where their pockets would be. So if you're comfortable doing that,
sprinters,
like,
sprinters.
Yeah, no, like a lot of sprinters actually. Like if you look at like Usain Bolt, like he actually does kind of go like this. But like most people,
but he's also the fastest person in the world.
Well, I mean, like sprinting mechanics are a little bit different. Like this is mostly for like distance, like mid-distance runners. Yeah, so he'll like kind of go like this, like unbend his arms. But like if you're not running like that fast, like most of the time you're gonna be better off just like running like this. So all right, the next thing would be like your shoulders. Your shoulders are like the ones that will rotate like your arms in and out and stuff like that. So make sure that like you're not gonna be able to run like this. Okay, so your arms are gonna be in like a little bit, but just make sure they're not like crossing like the midline of your body. Like pretend there's a line right here, and your arm shouldn't be crossing over here. Like I've seen like other, like when someone's like finishing a 5K and their form is like falling apart, they're like running like this, and like, I mean, like I'm not gonna say that I haven't done that, because I probably have. I mean, I've seen some really nasty pictures of me running. But you know, just try to be aware of those things, and like, just try to make sure that your arms aren't crossing the midline of your body. And also make sure that your shoulders aren't like creeping up, because like Lewis said, like sometimes like once you get tired, like you start hunching over a little bit, and like some people like their shoulders start creeping up. Just like pay attention to like having like relaxed shoulders. Just like keep them down. You don't have to like push them down or anything, but just like make sure they're not creeping up really. And then let's see, we have your neck next. Do you have any shoulder tips?
Pretty much just the hunching thing, because you really like, you start closing up your chest cavity and you can't breathe as well. Yeah. And your running form, yeah, your economy is just gonna tank.
And then I don't know, like for your neck, like, okay, this is just like a thing within my family, like, because we're all a bunch of family runners. And when me and my sisters used to get tired, Lewis probably knows this, because we ran together in high school, but like when we got tired, like our heads would go like this to like the inside of the track. We would just like run like this. So try not to do what I did when I was in high school. Yeah, just like try to, you know, just like keep looking forward. Maybe look like, I don't know, 10 feet out in front of you. And then, like, you know, when you're running on trails, like I always try to keep like a pretty good distance between me and the person in front of me so I can see roots that are coming up. But that could be for another video. Yeah, and then like for, say, like my face, I'm trying to make sure my face is like just like really flopsy, you know? You're kind of like really flopsy face. And like if you see like videos of, say, like a professional runner like Nick Simmons, or like even like Usain Bolt, like their cheeks are like going up and down, like they're like
when you see the slow motion pictures.
Yeah.
Of them, like.
And like they're just their faces like wobbling all over the place, just because like they have like a really relaxed face, like they're not tense. Like one thing that people tend to do is like just tense up muscles like all around their body, especially when they're running really fast. So that's where like you might see people like running like this. So that's like another thing you can try to make sure not to do, like with your neck. They're like going like this, like having like their shoulders up.
And that's a lot of wasted energy too when you're doing that.
Yeah, and like your oxygen, instead of going to like your neck muscles, could be going to your legs.
Yeah.
So it's not so much like a waste of energy in the sense like, you know, it's not like you're gonna be wasting energy, because it's not like you're gonna be going through that many calories in like a 5K. But you do have like a very limited supply of oxygen though for those races. So then I guess the only other thing that I would have to say is like your hands. Like people sometimes will have like Carl Lewis hands, but actually like what I like to do is I like to have my finger like on top of my thumb, or my thumb on top of my fingers. And like actually before, I think I was coaching you at the time too, and like
I run like this.
I think I had you guys like run with like a potato chip.
Yeah, and you can't crush it.
Yeah, so like what you would have to do is like run with a potato chip in between like your thumb and your fingers, and just you want to hold on to it, but you don't want to crush it. So you don't want to crush it, and you don't want to drop it. So you do have to just like have like light pressure. You just, I don't know, you just have your hands like this, and like you're just running like this. And I mean, I've run with kids in college who like they would run like with their hands like this. I mean, hey, whatever. If it works for you, whatever. But I think most of the time you're probably gonna be better off running like this. And then another thing I remember Gorney saying, that was our coach in high school, I remember him saying like something about like having kind of lazy eyes. So like don't like, I don't know, go like that. This like another like waste of oxygen, because like, do you want to like your oxygen going up to like your forehead muscles, or do you want to go to your legs? You know, just like kind of have like lazy eyes. What are you doing? Just kind of have like lazy eyes.
Just in case anyone forgot where your legs were.
Like lazy eyes, and you know, that's pretty much like all you got to do in order to run properly.
Too sexy for my car, too sexy for my water, too sexy, yeah, too sexy for my models, too sexy for my models, too sexy to have to buy.